My first car was a Datsun B210, a stick shift, but the starter didn't work in it. I push started that car everywhere. Or I could sit on a flat ground with my foot out and I could push the car backwards and pop start the car like that. I'm not even joking. This is the other great thing. I had a $2,000 stereo system in this car and never had a starter. To this day, I swear to God, I have no idea what an equalizer does.
It's cool.
I get in. That was my stereo. There's no CD, bro. Not then. It was all fucking tapes. Dude, it gives me fucking chills.
Was it a pull out? Do you remember that? Where you could pull them out?
Nobody was pulling out then. Nobody pulled out then, bro. What is cannabis doing for you?
Put some dog tags together, man.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to PV Unfiltered, and we are the #1, and that's right. I say it all the time, #1 cannabis podcast in the nation. Well, it looks like Tommy found his fucking horn. Thing's been gone for like, I don't know how long. And that's in the intro. But listen, we're sitting here with my buddy Steve Esho with VVW Custom Car Wraps or
Premier Graphic Supplier.
There you go. So I was going to throw that out there, but sometimes it's a little too much for me to read. Anyways, so super excited. This is a buddy of mine. And we've done a lot of shit together, And so you're going to see some really cool shit that he's done. All right. So listen, we just got to get into this. You know what I mean? We got a lot of shit to talk about and we don't have a whole lot of time, only a few hours. That's all we got in this. So let's, first of all, let's just kind of get a little bit about you and how you got into car wraps.
Yeah.
I know the whole story within reason, but these guys don't. So just give me a breakdown. How'd you get started in car wraps?
Well, I think I was like...
Speak into the microphone, please.
I was like 24, and I was working at my old partner's place, and I tried to call someone to do a wrap on the inside of my car. And when I got the price back, I was like, fuck, that's a lot of money. I wonder how much I can make if I do it, you know? So I ordered I ordered a roll of vinyl, a razor, and a squeegee, and I sat there in my little one big garage in my house.
Who the fuck does that? You know, I mean, it's like... let me just see how good I can wrap my own car.
Well, you know
what I mean? It's
I know.
Started with something small.
Yeah, start with something small, my car.
Trial and error. I didn't say it went well. You know what I mean? It was like a one bay little garage. I think it was like 100 degrees the day that I was wrapping too, and I didn't know that vinyl was conforming. So when it gets hot, it likes to stick and bend. So anyways, I spent, like 2 weeks going back and forth.
On the same one?
On the same car, just learning, trial and error. And then by the time I got mine done, I had friends starting to ask me, hey, can you do mine? Can you do mine? And can you do mine? So I was working at a gas station.
It took you 2 weeks to wrap your car?
It took me 2 weeks to just do the inside trim. I wish I could say I wrapped the whole car in that time frame.
Oh, really?
So that was just like the inside, like little wood grain pieces. I did them all in carbon fiber.
Gotcha. So you weren't doing a full outside car wrap. You were doing like all the
intricate little pieces on the inside,
gotcha.
Which I found out were more time consuming than doing an
carbon fiber.
Yeah. So back and forth, I finally, was able to nail it. And then I had friends starting to ask me, hey, can you do my car? Can you do my car? And at that time I was working at like a gas station. We had a 2-bay mechanic shop in there. So after, about the 5th or 6th request, I went up to my boss at the time and I was
I'm going to give you a little insight here. I do this with everybody. And typically Tommy, right now he's fucking losing his mind because of this.
Oh, got it.
So if it were up to Tommy, we would all have like mittens and shit on. At one point, he asked all of us to take watches off and shit. I'm like, dude, what do you want? You want us up here naked? With fucking mittens and shit on? So
got it. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, and you can move the mic around to wherever you want, you know, as you're talking, because it even for me, it's like a little awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyways,
got it.
So just minimize the tapping here. This guy's gonna come over the fucking council and he gets really weird, dude. That gets weird.
I got it.
Okay.
So at the time,
that's why he has his hands in his pocket.
He's like trying to show me what to do.
I
was already gonna say something.
Getting excited.
I typically get it right before he gets it.
All right.
I can look through the light and I can see his eyes. It's just like
Why are you doing that?
Yeah. Before he used to have, when it was just here, he had a list of things not to do during the podcast that you had to fucking watch.
I fidget a lot too, so I'd be like,
phones off, this, that. He had a full list.
I got my phone.
PB4.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, you're so you haven't wrapped a full car at this point. You were doing all the inside dashes and stuff like that.
So I was doing all the smaller pieces at that time.
Which is probably still pretty hard.
It was difficult, yeah. So as I was able to complete the inside and had, friends starting to ask me to do theirs, I started to experiment more. And then when I got the hang of doing all the inside pieces, that's when I attempted to wrap my own car. And then when I successfully completed that, it was just like a whole nother level of things. I started to get phone calls from a lot of friends.
To me, this is like, have you ever seen people that are tattoo artists and they start, you know what I mean? They start on themselves.
Yeah, always. We're the trial, yeah.
So you can typically see the progression of themselves because it starts with, something here.
Little circle, half circle.
Little smiley face. So they see, you know what I mean? And then pretty soon it starts getting better.
It starts to develop, and you get better and better.
So,
and that's the only way to learn in the industry, honestly.
And you can usually see which friends they did early on.
Yep. You'll see the good work, and then as it slowly progress, as they get further down the line, it gets better and better and better.
Right. So then the friend that fucking joined in first,
he's like, "Fuck, man, what'd I do?"
He's like, "Dude, look at your shit now." And I would just say to that person, if I was the artist, I would say that's valuable.
It is. That's where we started.
That's vintage shit right there.
Yep. No, and that's another thing too, is do I really want to go and start cutting on this guy's Lamborghini when I'm not too sure I can do it myself?
Yeah.
But as the phone call started to progress, I went up to my boss at the time. I was like, "Hey, you got these two bays here. They're not making much money. I know I do the numbers for him. I was managing the place at the time. So I was like, why don't you let me do my wraps out of the place, and whatever we make, we'll split it 50-50. And he was all for it. So I took over those two little bays and I started to bring in business, and, one wrap led to another, and it was all word of mouth. It was like wildfire, honestly. Like, we called the company VVW, which was Viral Vinyl Works, because we went viral with our vinyl work immediately.
Right.
So as the phone call started to pick up and business started to get busy there, next thing I know, it's a year and a half later, we've done Lamborghinis, GTRs.
So, but wait a second. So how did you just learned it?
Just learned it. Just trial and error. Literally trial and error. I would Google things. I'd YouTube them. I would order the pieces.
YouTube.
Sit down.
YouTube is the best thing
I was a
ever.
YouTube mechanic in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. It was the best thing ever. Like, literally, you could fly a plane.
You could, and honestly, like, the amount of knowledge available at your fingertips these days, there's really no excuse not to do anything.
I'm not even joking, and this goes out to my buddy Pete Magnetta, because he knows this story, and it was when I was working with my dad, and he was a guy that worked with my dad. I literally learned how to drive a big rig truck off of YouTube. I swear to God.
Believe it.
I did. And it was like an 18 speed. I had no clue on split shifting and all this shit. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Not at all.
Dude, it's the craziest thing ever.
Can YouTube it?
And that's exactly what I did. It's a funny ass story. We had a truck, my dad's company, we had a truck with a backhoe on it, on a trailer up north, that we couldn't get down here because the driver was whatever it was, and we needed it down here. So I get on fucking YouTube and I watch how to shift one of these trucks.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not just here. It's here, flip up, push a button, then here, flip, there's a whole process to this. That's what I did. And so I watched it for a couple of days. We went up there. I got in the truck. It was at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm coming down the 5 in traffic. I've got a truck, a huge truck. Behind that is a trailer with a giant backhoe. Dude, I've never driven a big rig truck in my life.
You're driving down the freeway.
Pete's in the back. He's in the truck behind, laughing his ass off because I'm just trying to figure this shit. You know what I mean?
Figure it as you go.
Yeah, I never, up until I got in the seat of that truck, I had never driven a big rig at all. I don't think I've ever been in one. I don't have a license for this shit, nothing. And I did it.
I was gonna say, did you get it there safely?
I did.
See?
It wasn't the prettiest thing ever. One thing I didn't know how to do was reverse. So got myself in a little sticky situation where I had to go on YouTube, and look up how to reverse the
While you're
truck.
in the car, you're like,
yeah, while I'm in
forward.
the car. But yeah, I swear to God, that's the first time, and I think it is the only time I've ever driven a big rig truck, and I think it was like 15 or 18 gears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not, people don't realize like how much work goes into driving one of these trucks. But these guys, they just boom, boom, boom. It's just like a flip.
It's like a second language to them.
Yes. So that's what I'm getting. Like you YouTubed and whatnot and learned how to do it. Yeah. My question is this. My first experience on driving a big rig after watching YouTube or however you look at it was driving a big rig.
Yeah.
Not only that, but with a giant trailer and a backhoe on the back. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't suggest anybody do this. But for you, when was the first time you wrapped like a fucking really nice car? And were you just sweating it?
I think that was it.
Oh shit, it's the i8.
But we did it in like a black. So that was when it came back to get redone, and that was actually at the first shop we opened.
To get redone, was it because you did it the first time?
No, he wanted to change the color.
Oh, okay.
So it was all
didn't
black.
do the green?
No, we did the green too. So we went from it's gloss black, and then we made it matte black, and then he came back and was like, you know what, let's change it again, and we did it in green. So this was like 2 wraps later.
Oh, so
this is
you
the
wrapped it
garage,
twice.
right?
Yeah, we wrapped that car twice. Yeah.
Okay.
This was that first garage?
This was at the first shop. This is the one I was telling
The
you.
one where I met you at.
No, that was, you met me in PB. That was our second shop.
Gotcha.
So this was the one where I told you I went to my boss at the time and I pitched him on taking over the 2 small mechanic bays, and that's actually what that was.
Gotcha.
So, when he let me take over the bays, like I said, just one thing led to another, and as we got busier.
So was that was the first car?
That was the first car in for the second wrap.
So after, I mean, obviously it's one of those things. Like I think most people would be like an apprentice at a shop and kind of learn through the rank as you're going along. You'd be side by side with somebody and do it. You jump right into an i8.
I didn't have the luxury. At that time, though, I'd experimented enough with my own car.
No, I get it.
So,
listen, I get it.
But don't get me wrong, I was nervous. I was
you're
nervous.
fucking jumping onto somebody's car.
I was
like that.
nervous. It was new. It was over $100,000. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into until I was into it. But it was one of those things where I knew in order to progress to the next step, it was something I needed to just swallow the bullet on and take. So I did it, and it took me, I think, like 5 days at the time, which was a little longer than a normal wrap, but I wanted to perfect it. It was like the first like supercar I was doing. It was it was
and I could tell you too, this guy's a perfectionist.
Yeah,
and I mean
got OCD.
Yeah.
So everything, I look at the minor details, and I think that's part of the reason why we did so well is that we look at the details that other companies don't. And I think us getting into the commercial side from the automotive is a big benefit because coming from supercars like that, you deal with perfectionists every day.
Right.
These guys don't want to see a speck of dust, no lifting corners. I mean, the car's got to be prepped correctly. So we had to pay so much attention to the detail that we carried it over when we started doing the signs and the wall graphics. So what would pass at other shops wouldn't pass at my shop.
Right.
I'm used to environments where I've done car wraps dust free. Why do we have to have dust in these signs or in the wall graphics? Like, why can't we take the time to prepare it and wipe it down?
Yeah, I mean that's going to jump ahead. Where we're going, but so obviously did a great job on the first one. They brought it back and had you wrap it again. And then is it just word of mouth at that point?
All word of mouth.
Right.
It was just literally one person would tell another, and before you knew it, we were doing like $25K a month in those 2 small bays. And I was just by myself with like one little helper, you know what I mean, that didn't know how to rap.
When you say little helper, is it like a little elf, like a little guy?
Like about 3'6".
I was thinking the same thing.
So he's just a little shorter than you.
Very little.
That's pretty good when you can call one guy a little helper.
But you know what I mean? He didn't know how to rap. Like
No,
it wasn't like a...
He's doing what most people do, learning how to rap. He's working with somebody that's doing it.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize that he's actually probably that you don't know shit either.
We're just as experienced here, buddy.
and your thing is don't ever YouTube anything about raps because it doesn't work. That's what you tell him.
I mean, look, it works to a certain degree.
No, but you don't want him to do that because
No,
then he'll
absolutely
go out and start
not.
his own shit.
But that's the problem with the industry, though, too, is when people start to get good at it, it's hard to get employees, right? Because he's like, well, I could just go open up my own shops.
Right.
That's a whole nother chapter. But yeah, that's a real thing. People do that.
So now you're just doing supercars. You're doing all kinds of crazy shit. Doing stuff 4 stars.
Yeah.
We've
done
David Justice, right?
Justice, Jermaine Dye. We've worked with Kendrick Lamar's team, done their golf carts for their tours. So we've done some pretty cool stuff, But the automotive was really what got us to the level that we were at, where people knew us.
Yeah, because then you went into Budweiser?
Yep. So Budweiser started to get into like dealer accounts, like BMW Vista, BMW Encinitas, and then when we outgrew that first shop, those two small bays, I went up to my partner again. I said, hey, we did this and it's working. We're both making some money, but we're kind of capped. There's only so much we can do here.
Yeah, you need to expand.
Yeah, so we found a facility. It was like 5,500 square feet in PB, and at that time my head was huge. So I'm like, man, I can do this. Let's go as big as we can. And my partners were all for growing into something instead of growing out of it. We didn't want to have to relocate twice.
You're smart.
So we went a little bit bigger than we needed to in the beginning, but when we made that jump, that was right around the time I was starting to get in like requests for commercial work, which was like printed graphics for vans. And I was like, wow, that's a whole nother avenue, right?
Right.
You can charge more. It's somewhat of an easier install because you're not going so far deep into the cracks and crevices to cover all the color. Your goal is to brand the vehicle.
Right.
So when we moved shops, our first big investment was we bought a printer, a plotter, and a laminator. So again, YouTube, Google, started figuring out, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the
Went to
print
school.
industry. Yeah, literally. I went to YouTube University, I had no idea what I was doing, but we had the drive
That
to
would
do it.
be UTU.
Yep, UTU. YTU.
Oh yeah, sorry. you. That's YTU.
YouTube University.
YouTube University. Has anybody been to YouTube?
But yeah, that's how I got into the printing. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Just spent like $60,000.
Guys, I don't recommend this at all. Okay?
I'll be honest with you.
what I mean?
We took some.
That's like,
very
I'm going to
big
fly a bunch of
risks.
cocaine down to Florida from Colombia.
Never flown a chopper, but I'm gonna try today.
Never flown a plane, but I YouTubed it.
When I bought my first stick shift car, I did the same thing. Didn't know how to drive stick. Bought it in Chula Vista and winged it the whole way down to San Diego.
My first car was a Datsun B210, a stick shift, but the starter didn't work in it. I'm not even joking. It was turquoise. It was turquoise car four-door, and I never had a starter that worked in it. I push started that car everywhere. I swear to God, I literally push started the car everywhere. I got to where I could push it backwards and start in reverse.
Like Flintstones and shit.
I swear to God. Then I just learned, like, I had a couple times where I parked in a spot and then somebody would fucking park, with me. And I'd have to wait because I couldn't go anywhere. So then I learned that I had like very strategic parking situations where, I would park by myself in the back on a hill.
7 feet to roll forward.
I tried to make it easy on myself because otherwise I couldn't tell you, I'm not even joking. Like, if you've seen this, this is actually my second car I ever had. First car was an Impala. Literally the floors were rusted out in it. Second car was I think I paid $400 or $700 for a 78 Datsun B210 4-door, turquoise. And the guy's like, yeah, the starter's out on it or whatever. I said, fuck, I'll take it. And he goes, yeah, I just push started it, So I just got to where I never put a starter in the car.
Yeah.
And
Just get push starting it.
I just push started everywhere.
Park on a hill.
I always park on a little incline, or I'd park like this because I'd pop it in reverse. Yeah. Or I could sit on a flat ground with my foot out and I could push the car backwards and pop start the car like that. I'm not even joking. I swear to God.
I think everybody's, most people have been through a struggle
And then
like that.
my friends would be, my friends, and I typically would always have a buddy with me or something, so I'd have that fucker
Pushing the car while you're ready to start it.
Every single time, you'd be like, why don't you get a starter in this thing? I'm like, I got one. You just started it. I'm not even joking.
You should have made him wear a shirt.
Dude, I could pop that car so fast. I almost thought I had a starter at one point.
You did, your friend.
No, and even myself pushing it. I would push and jump in.
Like a Fred Flintstone.
And off you go. Oh yeah, love that car. I don't even know why. This is the other great thing. I had a $2,000 stereo system in this car and never had a starter.
Sounds about right.
I know, it's the truth. I mean, you got to picture. So picture this. I don't know where we're going with this, but it's funny shit. So picture this. I had hair down to here.
I got to see that photo.
Oh, I got him. And I weighed probably at that time like 175 pounds. You know? I don't know. I'm just saying there may have been some drugs involved that keep my weight balanced. And I would be in this car. I had a Kenwood deck in this thing. I had probably one of the first subwoofers that was in a box and shit in
Ported
this thing.
box, had an amplifier.
I had a full amp. I had an equalizer that hung below. Dude, to this day, I swear to God, I have no idea what an equalizer does.
It's cool.
I get in. I just love the Kenwood because it had the light up buttons.
The lights.
And then I went from that to an Alpine, and that was like
a big
fucking
step.
yeah. But I had this equalizer, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, let me just." You know, I'd be
Oh,
playing-
that's nothing. Hold on, watch this. Nothing
No.
changes.
So imagine me in parachute pants. If you ever remember those, you probably don't.
Don't.
So literally, they're parachute pants. Tommy does. So in parachute pants, long hair with a fucking tank top that's threaded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm cruising down like fucking Motley Crue, Scorpions and shit in this car, in a turquoise car. And of course, a pair of Vans on. Yeah, dude, I thought I was the shit.
You had one
then,
of
too.
these.
That was the equalizer. That was the equalizer for
This
sure.
one for real.
Yes, I swear to God. And the lights. I look at it. It's funnier than shit because I have no idea how those work. I have no idea. Sometimes I would get in there and turn shit, and then I'd just be like, God, that sounds like
It's
shit.
all treble.
It all sounds like shit. Pull up Alpine. Alpine. When I finally got the Alpine deck, like that was it. I think I spent like $700
They were expensive.
just on the deck.
There was a big time when people were spending $3,000-$4,000 on a stereo system.
And the only reason I bought that deck was because one of my buddies had it, and the fucking buttons lit up like this cool like blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was
The
just like-
Alpine blue.
I didn't even care. Right there, to the left. Oh, by the way, it was a tape too.
These?
Right down.
You had
down.
a tape player in there?
Right there. That was it. That was my stereo. There was no CD, bro. Not then. It was all fucking tapes.
It was like 8-track?
CD wasn't even out.
You had to go to the warehouse to get it.
No, it's not 8-track. That's a
The regular cassette tape?
A
Regular
cassette tape,
cassettes.
yeah. But dude, it gives me fucking chills.
Was
right
it a pull out? Do you remember that? Where you could pull them out?
Nobody was pulling out then. Nobody pulled out then, bro.
It was the 80s.
No. You left it in. That's it. It gives me.
You hope for the best.
Honestly, it's like it makes me feel really good to see this because that literally was my pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And wow, that's pretty fucking cool.
Prized possession at the time.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, dude. That was like. That was it.
I gotta bring up parachute.
I love.
That I'm curious to see what it looks like.
Dude, bring it up. I got pictures.
I think I actually
Hey,
know what
no
you're talking about. They're all
bullshit.
puffy.
No bullshit. People will be wearing these today.
So
'Cause
those,
it's
yeah,
tight.
those are parachute pants.
Yeah.
I had a black, a red, and a white pair.
Hey, seems like Gucci got a pair right there for $2,000.
They had a bunch of
I
zippers.
I wasn't going that way.
They were like vinyl.
Oh yeah, no, they were parachute. It was parachute material.
But hey, look, if you look at that, that's pretty much a style today. People would be wearing that.
Yeah, whatever. I did it first. So imagine me walking out, literally fucking long hair, earring, fucking big earring and shit hanging down, and I get in my Datsun, and then I got to push start it. And as I drive off, this thing just boom, boom, fucking Motley Crue shit goes.
The windows all shaking.
Oh yeah, that was good shit. Anyways, so
Where did that go?
it went where. Listen,
That was a tangent.
It always goes where it needs to go, Tommy. Yeah. So back on track here. So now you're doing supercars, you're doing crazy shit there.
Yep.
You get into Pacific Beach, you're doing your thing there. That's where I end up meeting you.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, did you wrap something there? No, my car's got
Your car's
coated.
got ceramic coated at
Ceramic
our place
coated.
and tinted, I believe.
Yeah, and tinted. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And that's around the same time we were getting into all the commercial stuff.
Right.
That was like our first few months with our foot in the door with some of the companies, and that's when you were kind of fell into our lap.
Right. So this is what's cool because we always talk about it, how But you've been using cannabis your whole life.
Yeah.
Or, whatever, however you want to put it.
Since I was like 15, 14, 15.
And so this is what's cool because there was no pathway going to this.
No.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do this and this, and then I'm going to do.
No, there was no like game plan to get into the industry. As much as I loved the industry, you know what I mean? I did my little grows at the house when I was younger and stuff. Right. But like, I never found an actual avenue to get into it, although I did want to get into it because I genuinely have a passion for the industry. I mean, it's something I enjoy. I feel like I'm knowledgeable about it and I enjoy learning about it. So it's like another hobby of mine.
Right.
So
when you take it, now you're doing supercars, you're doing this, you're going through this, doing phenomenal in that side of it. But then the industry also is kind of flattening out too. Because everybody and their mother's fucking watching YouTube and learning how to wrap a car.
So then before I knew it,
by the way, typically those are the ones that when you're driving down the road and you see the hood shit fly.
Yeah.
That's a typical YouTuber rap job.
It became fierce, man. I was hiring, I had a staff of 12 people at one time, 12, 13 people. And as we would hire people, they would use us as like a learning base, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I think everybody.
That's typical in anything you do.
People want to grow, and
absolutely.
It's very, I think it's wrong of us to try to keep people down. Like, I don't want someone to be an employee the rest of their life either, However,
no, you do. I mean, you do. I do too.
To a certain degree.
But reality is like what you're saying is you want people to grow within themselves and within your industry. A percentage of people are going to fly the coop and they're going to succeed.
Yep.
And down the road, and I've had this in a lot of stuff where it's great because then I go, wow, like look at what you've done. And it started with me and my company. Yeah. And then there's other people that just like, they don't have any desire to run a company.
Yeah.
And, and those are the ones that stay with you for a long term.
Yeah. And I've had employees like that actually left and opened up their own shops that are doing, fairly well now. And I'll refer out work, because again, I'm not doing much of the automotive anymore. I mean, I'll still take in some for our premium clients, but otherwise we spend most of our time on the commercial side.
Right.
So, the fact that I still get these leads and these clients in, I'll refer them out at that point because might as well keep the money in the circle.
Right.
To whatever degree we can.
So now, this is where we go into the transition into cannabis because that was never in your sights, if you want to call it that.
No. At the time, I was working with Peter a little bit. We were doing some like graphics for their dispensary and stuff. And I
down at Golden Bloom.
Yeah, right. And that's I think how I met you. Peter referred you to us.
Yeah.
So when you came into the picture, and we started to get into all the wall graphics and everything for you as well. And we were doing that currently for other locations, but when you guys came in, you guys grew exponentially. I watched it happen. As you guys came in, you guys were already on fire, but the fire didn't seem to dim down. It felt like every week someone was pouring more gas on it. You guys were just, climbing.
Yeah, because we piss gasoline here.
Yeah, apparently so. But you guys climbed the ladder very fast. And being with you guys at that time, I think getting in early on, I'd say, what was it, about 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
It worked wonders for us because I was at that time trying to find a way to transition out of the automotive too. It was very labor intensive. The margins just weren't there. Like it's enough for like one person to eat, but not enough for like me and my partners to eat either. So it was like, we knew something needed to change. There was a problem with our process. Yes, we're great at what we do, but how do we take something that we're great at what we do and make money with it?
Well, I mean, it's just like us in businesses or anybody in business is you get to this point where you go next level. Yeah. And in with that being said, when you're talking about like in your industry, you got 12 people working, you're doing this many cars. Now the money's just not there at that level. Exactly. So you need to make a decision. You either go back down to a few guys, where you can eat well and provide on that end of it, or you go to the next step where you go up to 20
jobs,
guys, yeah, and you're doing much bigger jobs and going that route. It's a tough place to be because that's kind of that medium where people make it or break it in any business where they make that decision to go, okay, we're going to go really big.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm right, that industry really was saturated to a level that to do that,
The market price was just going down.
It just didn't make sense.
It was going down. You know, we were charging $3,500 for, eventually became $3,000, and then before you know, people are doing it for $28,000 and $25,000.
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing for people doing, you know, full wrap jobs for like $1,200 or $1,500, and at that point I'm like,
that's crazy.
that doesn't cover my overhead or the material.
Can you give me their number, please?
I didn't say it was.
I mean,
good.
I would never do that. I was just curious. I want to talk to them.
When the market's saturated like that, it's a rude awakening for us. We're sitting in this 5,500 square foot facility. We're paying for all of our insurances, the staff, we're covering all of our bases. And then you'll have these guys go open up a shop, 1 or 2 guys, and in like a small 2-bay shop like we did in the beginning, and they're able to profit.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the same overhead or the
I know,
same
man.
facility costs, or how
It's that way, and that's the thing is it's that way in any business.
Yeah.
And that's where the business person comes out to really understand what their position is.
Exactly. So I had to take a step back and look at, okay, what are we doing? What are we good at? What is making us money? What isn't?
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, well, I enjoy the automotive side. That was like my passion when I got into it, right? It was something that I got into because I wanted to do it at that point. Yes, I saw money in it, but at the end of the day, I was a big car enthusiast.
Right. So you were getting that out of it too.
Yeah, I was kind of getting my own little fix out of it as well, I guess you could say. But
Right.
when you run the numbers at the end of the month and you're looking at things from a whole and you're like, fuck, man, like we're doing all this and this is what we're making.
Right.
It just didn't seem.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense at that point. And then I'm looking at the commercial side and our printers are printing. We do the labor of creating the artwork and everything, but the machines are doing the labor of printing and stuff.
Right.
So at that point I can bring in an installer and he'll go throw up the graphics. I got my graphic design guy that'll put the graphics together and produce
And
it.
you don't need all this space.
And I don't have to sit there and wrap these cars myself either, because it came to a point where people would come in, they're like, oh, we want you to do our car. And I'm like, I know that, but like, if I do everybody's cars, I'm never going to be able to grow the business. I'll forever be working. And I was tired of trading labor for money, because I felt like, even
I know exactly what you're saying.
years in, I was still an employee of my own company. I would go there and I would, come in and work pants, work shoes, and a work shirt.
Well, I hate to break this to you, but I'm an employee too.
Yes, but it's different when you're like, I don't mind going and helping with the installs and things like that. But when the business,
no, I get it.
In order to make money, it was difficult.
It's like you can't. I can't be downstairs doing manufacturing and filling carts and then
my income was limited by my ability at that point.
Right.
So how many cars can I pump out? That's probably what I'm going to make at the end of the month, because the rest of the stuff you're kind of just washing. It's covering the labor, it's covering the overhead.
And why do it?
Exactly.
Like so now you get into cannabis. I think that's where we meet. We come on board.
Yeah.
You make that decision with your partners.
I actually talked
amicably
to them.
Part ways.
Yeah.
And
in a good way.
In a good way.
We sat down, we looked at each other, and we're like, hey, this isn't working to a degree. One of us can eat, but we can't all eat, and they all knew that.
Right.
So, I've been.
And
with
they
these
had
guys,
other stuff going on.
Yeah,
so this wasn't their bread and butter.
They own, multiple other businesses and properties, but at the end of the day, I've been with these guys for 10 years. I started with them in 2010. You know what I mean? So I started with them when I was first getting my life together.
Right.
I wasn't a good kid when I was younger. I made all the mistakes in the book.
Did you not just see what I went through?
Yeah. No, trust me, I'm right behind you. I can relate.
I was driving a fucking 1978 Datsun B210 with parachute pants on. It had a $2,000 stereo in it. That's a great. I want one of those again at some point. I'm getting one.
Get you one for your wedding gift.
Yeah, I'm getting one for sure.
But yeah, we sat down and we talked, and they decided to help me. So where most partners would have been like, well, if you want to get out, it's going to be this or that.
Right.
They took a completely different turn on it, and where they wanted to help me grow, and they knew the situation.
I mean, at a certain point, they got it.
So we came up with a conclusion. I took over the business, and we came up with a price on everything. And that's when I talked to you. And at that point, we were getting big into work with you. We're doing signage, wall graphics, murals. I mean, everything for you guys at that point. Whatever you needed, you would call us, and we started to build these accounts. And that's when you told me about your facility here. And I was looking to leave PB. Our rent just kept going up and up and up. It was at a point where it just wasn't feasible. We were working to pay rent. So when I came into here, when it was under your location, and we cleaned it up and we started there, that was like our big turn. It was a very risky, very, very, very risky move. But at the end of the day, it was absolutely detrimental to our survival.
Right.
It was either we're going to do that, or I could just walk away from it and go do something else.
Right.
But coming into this location and getting to work with you guys and you guys introducing us into the industry, and, you know, one client led to another, and you know, don't get me wrong, we have good months and bad months like everybody else. I'm not telling you.
Oh, well, listen, I mean, I can tell you this. We have nothing but great months. I mean, everything's peachy here. You know what I mean?
But that's
what fucking people believe when they're looking at a business, and that, you know, when they're looking at stuff, and it's
when
like
they're looking at like highlight reels, and it's like, yeah, it all looks good on the outside, but there's always that internal struggle, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're weighing the good with the bad in business and what you're doing and how you're handling it. But I mean, you know, it's always that thing. You know, people go, oh man, he's fucking rapping Lamborghinis and Bentleys and all this other shit. He's got to be. No, listen, it's business. And that's at the end of the day, the one that's, you know, the guy that owns that, he's even in the same position. He's got a fucking mortgage on that car typically, you know, and everybody's it's business, and that everybody's in a different position. But I can tell you this, it's I don't know of one business, even if you talk about, you know, fucking Pablo Escobar, you know, you're talking, everybody has troubles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, the guy fucking made a lot of money. You know what I mean? I think maybe he should have stopped a little earlier, you know, when you're worth, you know,
God knows how many billions,
$300 billion.
I mean, he was burning $3 million in the chimney, right, or in the fireplace.
Yeah, to keep his daughter warm.
I mean, it's just, you know, that's a whole other thing. But what I'm getting at is that there's always a climb. There's always a struggle. There's always these things going on. And, you know, as a business person, you figure out how to deal with these things and move on.
Yep.
And
you figure out solutions.
Right.
And that's why you're in business.
So now you're still doing, you know, at that time, you were still doing the wraps, and you're still doing that kind of subtly on the side.
Yeah, it became
backing out, doing mainly your main customers, like the athletes and the celebrities and stuff like that.
The people you don't want to turn away, you know.
Right.
Because they lead to other business as well.
I mean, it's that, but then they've also been doing it for so long with you that
it's hard to turn your back.
It is, because you kind of feel like you're obligated, you know,
to a certain
forever.
degree, yeah.
At some point, I mean, you'll be sitting in your house and Dave Justice is going to pull up, even though you're not doing it, and he's like, here's a couple cars, wrap them.
They actually called me like 3 days ago and was like, hey, my son wants to do his car. I know you're not doing car wraps anymore, but I just want to double check with you before I even think about going anywhere else. And I was like, no, dude, bring it in. Like,
right.
You know, those are the kind of guys that have been with us for so long and that have treated us so well.
Right.
You don't, I can't turn my back on people like that. That's not the person I am. It's not how I was raised to be. So, you know, don't get me wrong. At that point, they know we're not in it for the money. There's only so much money we're making on the car.
So you're still doing Budweiser?
Yes, I still am. I still have an account with Budweiser. I still have my accounts with BMW Vista and Encinitas. We're doing Mercedes Escondido as well. You know.
So with that, before we get into the now, which is the now actually, I don't know why I fucking said it like that. Yeah, that was weird. So anyways. Now you're doing a lot of cannabis stuff. It's another, you know, side of what you're doing. Yeah. How's the COVID thing, you know, on your end?
So on the initial shutdown really did hurt us because all of our events got canceled.
Right.
Everything, you know, technically because of you got us into all these big events and trade shows and
fuck. I think this is where like, I get in trouble.
This is where like
I think this is where I get in trouble right now.
So, but
speaking of COVID, this is what we do here. We can't shut you down. Everybody gets tested 3 times a day, sometimes 4. Can you shoot like the back of my neck or something?
He's doing Steve.
What's up, brother?
Fuck it, let's do Steve also.
Better safe than sorry. I got tested like 3 days ago.
So did I.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah, my friend came to one of our houses, or one of my friend's houses, and his parents had it. So we all got nervous and we all went and got tested, but it doesn't spread as fast as they say it does, huh?
No, it does actually. We have it here.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you're joking, right?
No. I'm dead serious. Yeah, I don't know. We've had now 10 or 11 cases.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, not with us.
And most are back to work, and
yeah, they recover. Most people are recovering fairly.
I mean, there's been a lot of people. We didn't have any issues at all.
Yeah.
2 Fridays ago, or last Friday.
Last Friday.
Literally, we had no issues at all. We test, you know, I mean, everything's going on. And so Vanessa says to me, I think somebody, a brother, I don't remember the scenario, what happened, but she said this person tested positive and it's a family member or whatever it was, her girlfriend. She said, said, I think we should just test everybody in the company. So she said, what do you think about me just getting a van and we'll take everybody and run through and get everybody tested? Absolutely.
Good idea. Yeah.
And I was on my way to Havasu. By the time I got to Havasu, there was 6 or 7 people had already tested positive.
Shit.
Yeah.
At least you gets caught it early on.
I don't know that really matters, to be honest with you. I think you just got to go through it. I mean, that's my feeling, and and we're very protective of what happens here, but it once it does, like you have to just go. Yeah, you go through this
like every
process.
other disease.
I mean, so since then, I think there's 11 that have tested positive, and I think the majority are back to work already. As a matter of fact, I know they are. Most of them just like said, oh, the ones that were positive were like, oh, I had a headache, maybe some chills, and then that was it. Like we haven't had anything bad in that way. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just want the best for everybody in this, and we're doing
safe and sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing everything that we can to prevent it. I mean, as you can see, this is from the day that this started. In the very beginning, we have always had, he's always gone around, temperatures 3 times a day, records everybody, and then he's constantly cleaning and all day. That's what he's doing. I'm like, dude, what if we need you to fucking shoot somebody? He's like, pull out my fucking, I can get my temp gun out. I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, we have taken every precaution. Yeah. But I think people are just going through it. It's kind of like herd immunity. But let's get off of that. Let's go back to.
But yeah, it did hurt our business. We lost all of our events from.
And let's be clear, that was not staged.
No.
Ironically, like
I know.
You know what I mean? Unless Tommy said something up.
No.
Because that was not staged. Literally started talking about COVID, and he pops it. That's weird shit.
Yeah, but no, I mean it became detrimental to us when we found out they were canceling all the events for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Everything that we do,
yeah,
all of our
we're in the
jobs.
same boat.
I mean, we were supposed to do Hall of Flowers for you guys too.
Yeah.
That got pulled off the table.
Yeah.
And you're talking big chunks of money across the board.
Yeah.
All these events.
Oh, I know. We pay those big chunks of money.
Yeah, we're looking at it as a whole now, and I'm like, fuck, what are we gonna do? That's
you're going to survive.
35 to 40%
You're
of
going to do
our
what you've been
income
doing all this time.
Yep, and you just adapt.
Figure it out.
You just adapt and adjust and keep it moving forward. And we got into some COVID signs in the meantime, doing the floor graphics,
the fucking wrapping
signs.
COVIDs.
I mean, look, whatever you can do.
That's 100% what it is.
But this last week and a half, 2 weeks, the phone calls started to pick back up again.
Yeah,
and
people are done, man.
People are just done, and they know now. The first thing to go in the beginning was marketing, right? People are like, oh, we got to save our money. They want to stop the cash burn. But then now that we're this far into it, they're looking at it as, well, fuck, we're not getting any more market share. They're losing market share because the people that are advertising now are taking up what is available.
Yeah.
So the clients that you're not getting impressions on, they are now. So the people that are figuring that out, the phone calls are starting to start again. We're doing, we just did a display for Select the Shango in Moreno Valley. We just did, we're actually redoing the entire inside of Golden Bloom right now. So people are now looking at it as like a way to invest in their business.
Right. So now off the COVID shit, we know that it's affected a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can say on our part, especially because cannabis was deemed essential.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it grew our business because that's not the case. There's a lot of companies in the cannabis space that are going out of business or, however you want to look at it. But more so, just the fact that we were deemed essential was huge in this space. But let's go back and talk about, some of the things that you've done, because on our part, when we go into like Hall of Flowers, Tommy, you're going to have to pull that up we'll have all that on there because, excuse me, that to us, we'd done a lot of stuff within reason, but that Hall of Flowers was really the pinnacle of what you were capable of doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to take Michigan out of it because Michigan was fucking amazing.
Michigan was cool.
And that whole process was pretty badass. But I think the
Hall of Flowers
the
one
first,
takes the win.
the first Hall of Flowers, and we'll put that up. That was fucking absolutely amazing. And when you're talking about events, which cannabis is big event based business on how you're marketing, and it's gone to a whole different level from having a fucking fold out table with
backdrop.
with a backdrop hanging behind you and and doing your thing to now
those
it's
days
like,
are gone.
Yeah.
And you brought us into that, we were doing smaller scale stuff, but our ability, what we do can be scaled, right? I mean, it's not an issue to do. Once you understand how to do a smaller project, then blowing it up isn't too difficult as long as you understand the fundamentals.
Right.
But I had yet to come across anybody like you that was like, hey, we got an event in 2 weeks. Can you get me a 26-foot tower?
That was Michigan.
Michigan, and it's like
Michigan was fucking crazy. Oh, so you got us here. So this is our this is the Hall of Flowers here, right?
Yeah, that was Hall of Flowers.
Yeah. And you can't.
You guys put this together, right?
Yeah.
He did the whole thing. I mean, look at the floor. Everything you see was done by these guys, except for the gummy wall behind there. People went fucking nuts. The floor's wrapped. The water cooler's wrapped. Yeah, this is amazing shit. There's a driven wall, and that
wall was cool.
That wall was crazy,
dude.
We all kind of what you don't see is like even the safes below are wrapped to match the fucking wall.
That's cool.
And then for each one, Dream, Relax, each one had its own cool little feature to it. So Dream is a globe that's floating.
Yeah,
and then Relax that's the water.
That was the water machine.
The water machine. The light bulb
was for Create,
and all these things hover. They're all magnetic, and they hover.
That's cool.
It's pretty badass. So this is where I believe that it really turned what your capabilities were.
Yeah, this opened up our eyes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, look at the floor, and look at our chocolate station and the podium, like all these things. That's 100% your company. There
was a lot of detail that went into it, but it's also the people that we're working with, right? Because I mean, we are the creative side, but we go off of the ideas, and that's how we turn it into something like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was by far one of the coolest. I'd say that and the Michigan Cannabis Convention was two of the coolest projects. That
was
a whole different story.
Think about it this way. I came to you and I said, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And what I envisioned, because a lot of these events, they have height limitations.
Yeah.
And Michigan did not.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, what is the height of the ceiling in Michigan? And did you see that one?
No.
Okay. So we said, what is the height of the ceiling in Michigan? And
it was like 20. It was like 21 feet.
You would know the numbers on it.
It was like podium.
What's that? No,
we're talking about the ceiling height of the event space.
But I think I remember you.
We did
the podium.
Well, no, because then he was like, "How tall up can we go? We want to put a tower in there, and on top of the tower, you know what? Why don't we just throw our logo and make a spin?" And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Okay, I'm not one to say no. I'm always up for a challenge.
I remember.
I'm always up for a challenge." But I've yet to come across anybody that thinks outside of the box to that degree, where he's like, "Fuck it, let's throw in a as big of a tower as we can get." Make the sign spin on top. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get a 4-foot sign to spin on top of this tower? Okay. Let alone get it up there the day of the event.
And it needs to be lit.
Yeah. And he wanted the sign illuminated. So we had to create like a base with, spotlights that are shining onto the sign. The base needed to be able to rotate. I mean, it was a logistical nightmare, but the outcome was amazing. And it showed us what our true potential is, or what we could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it took someone like George to be able to, give us that room to grow, where he trusted us and he believed in our process and the way we do things enough to give us the projects, projects of that caliber. So, we're super grateful. I think that we would have still progressed as a company, but I don't think we would be as deep into the cannabis culture as we would without your guys' help. Without your...
Yeah, I mean, there's like these little boosters definitely that come into play, but I think more so it's how you are as a person and how you drive your company.
Yeah.
And when you're an YouTuber and you make shit happen like that, that's a big part of how you go across all of this, because there's not like there's no can't. It's like,
everything is possible, right? To a certain degree.
All right, so let's talk about, like I said, even though the Hall of Flowers was literally, to me, the pinnacle of what you were capable of at that time, especially under those timelines, because most of our shit all happens,
within 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks, it was always a 2 week. The Michigan one, I mean, that literally happened in 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we finished Hall of Flowers in September.
Right. And we're like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah, a week and a half, 2 weeks prior.
Right. And so the one thing that I wanted to do was, a lot of these events, they have lounges, and we've always had like a booth, like Hall of Flowers. And I said, you know what, this one, let's set it up as a lounge, right? Mm-hmm. And then somewhere I came into this, because like I'd said, was that they typically have height limitations on these, but when you go to Vegas and you go to the convention there, you can build up.
Yeah.
And so we found out the limitations in Michigan weren't there. It was whatever the ceiling was.
Yep.
So we get the ceiling height, and I'm like, I want to have a tower. And you're like, okay. And I want, on that tower, I want a giant PV logo.
Spinning.
Illuminated.
Positioned on the top. Yeah.
Yes.
Of a 16-foot tower.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now we're at 20 feet because it's a 4 foot plus whatever.
And we had like a 21-foot clearance. Like I think we had maybe 3 or 4.
We're going to get into this because we didn't have anything to spare.
No.
So here's what happens. So this is all literally in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want pink carpet.
Yeah, I swear to God.
I want
literally how it went.
I want white couches. I want all of our pedestals wrapped.
Yep.
The whole thing. And this tower, which is fully.
Who's getting the furniture? Is that?
Oh no, he did everything.
We did everything.
Oh wow.
Literally everything.
Damn.
So.
And we're in San Diego, by the way, and this is Michigan.
This is Michigan. So we get this shit done, or he does.
No,
some of it gets shipped out there. But then we have Rob jump in a truck. Okay.
Our Rob downstairs?
Yeah. He jumps in a truck filled with all of our stuff, the remaining stuff.
Yeah. The podiums, things like that.
Right. And the
coming from here.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The
yes. Logo, the unit for it. Yeah.
Yes. And he shoots off from here to Michigan.
Like one shot. Like a day and a half prior.
Right.
Damn.
He gets there literally a day before.
Yep.
And pulls up. We unload all the stuff. This is the evening before we're going in.
Dude.
That's how like constrained we were for time.
That's it. Anything went wrong in his drive and we were done.
Yeah.
So you'll see this thing. So we get there and we unload Rob. That's at like 6 or 7 o'clock.
He was delayed because he ran through a hailstorm.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we had to have him keep the place open so that we could unload because you had to be ready in the morning.
Yeah.
So Rob gets there. We unload the stuff. The next morning we go and it's time to build our section, which is right in the front door. When you walk through, Platinum Vape was it. And so we test the tower the day before, right? And because Rob was there, we test it. So we're getting the tower set up and it sets up great. But then now we have to unpack and undo the big logo.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and it's on a motor. They tested everything here. So we get there and it's supposed to just set up on the top and kind of bolt down to the top. Good to go. So I'm like, dude, I don't want to be doing this shit in the morning. Like if there's a problem, I want to deal with it now. This is at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have to get up to the top. Now, this is a big union thing, too. These convention centers, they're all union. So we don't have anything, it's 14-foot tower, and then we got to set this thing on top. So I happen to see a lift sitting in a hallway, and so I go grab this lift, and there's video of me. It's that one, of me driving the lift in. Does that expand over the whole thing?
No, because it's the way it's shot.
So Viviana's recording it. I'm driving through. Now, keep in mind, this is a security guard. Watch out. These two people, like, they're union. Like, they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
We were talking about bolting it to the top, then tipping the tower up on its feet. And George was like, no, you know what? There's a lift back there. I'll just go get it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. So look at Steve. Steve's like,
lookout. You like the lookout.
Right. He's my lookout. So I get the lift over. Now just go to the next one because we'll go through this. So the next one is us going up in the lift with the sign. This is great shit. Now, because then this is where we find out that we miscalculated and we hit the fucking ceiling. Yep. The sign. Look. Okay, this ain't working. Can you volume?
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah.
This is why we needed to do this.
This is why we needed to do this.
All right. So now we find out this isn't working.
This is even with this.
Now, go to the next video. So this is now the head of the union guy. Now, keep in mind, this is like 7 or 8 o'clock, whatever time it was. He comes over and he's like basically saying, what the fuck are you guys doing? Do you have a... You'll have to listen to it, but we got in real trouble here. So go ahead and play it.
Well, it's on our. I put it through the sound so we can hear it here.
So go
I'm
ahead.
allowed to provide you with a legitimate answer, but nothing that I give you is going to be legitimate.
Listen.
I'd like you to come down off that lift and down here.
Look at Cody. Cody's here laughing.
Steve?
Listen.
Come down.
Listen. So
I'd like.
So you missed the first part of this because he's like asking me for excuses and this and that. I'm like, I legitimately, I don't think there's anything I can tell you that's gonna make this
It's
right.
like, you're not giving me a legitimate
He's
answer.
on the phone now. And he's calling code red. We got union violators.
Go 20 feet up, so if that's the case, then,
The whole time though, Cody's just sitting down there.
He's like lying down.
this is
So here he is. He's still over here. Code red. Code red.
Wait, we got to hear this again one more time.
Yeah, it's funny. Listen.
Well, he asked George for a legitimate answer.
Listen.
I'd love to provide you with a legitimate answer, but nothing that I give you is going to be legitimate.
Look at Cody. Watch.
Here, come down here.
Cody should be in here, man.
Oh my God.
So I'm
Cody
like,
should be here.
There's a funny thing behind this on a guy that you're gonna pull up right now on YouTube. Pull up Steve on a lift. Because this was where we kind of got.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, just go to YouTube.
That's
go
all we could think
go
about.
Steve
We were
on,
dying
Steve on lift. And if
laughing.
you hear me in there, I'm like, Steve, come down. So, right here. So just click on it. Yeah. Listen, this is the best one ever.
Number 36 dispatch. Go ahead. 44.
Okay. So this is a drunk guy named Steve that gets pulled over on a skylift. This is definitely Alabama.
Black coveralls, ball cap.
Look, he's sitting on 2 cases of beer. He's like, what?
Pull that lift to the side of the road. Stop. Now.
He stops.
He's like all pissed.
Look at
443.
this is legit. Like this guy literally this happened.
What the heck are you doing out here?
43 is Charlie.
I'm working a job site right there, man.
45 is fine.
Right down there. What are you doing down there? What are you doing in this thing?
I just came to get some lunch and sodas and whatnot for the
He's sitting
guys.
on 2 cases of beer.
What's your name?
Listen,
Steve,
Steve.
Steve? I can't have you driving up and down the street in this Skyjack. You're sitting on beer.
that's for after. I'm not drinking.
That's right.
What about that beer there I saw you drinking coming out of the driveway?
Listen.
49 dispatch.
Oh man, I'm just finishing that one was from earlier.
See, I can't have you driving down the road in a
Man.
Skyjack drinking beer. Why don't you come on down and talk to me here for a minute? Let's figure this out.
Man, I gotta get back to work.
No, just come on down. We'll get this figured out and we'll get you back to work.
No.
Steve, come on down.
Oh,
Steve,
going up.
come on down.
Steve.
Get me. How about that?
I'll tell you what, Steve, we can do this the easy way, or we
Watch.
can do it the hard way.
Come on up.
The
buddy.
hard way, on the way to jail, we're gonna stop by the hospital.
Oh, maybe I'll come down.
Maybe I won't.
Maybe I'll come down.
I so wanted to do that.
Steve,
I was like, don't do it, dude. Don't
come
do
on
it.
down. Just come on down.
Steve's like,
and work this
no,
out.
don't do it,
Back
don't do
to
it. He was, oh yeah. I was like, maybe I'll come down, maybe I won't.
Give me one more chance, Steve.
This was it.
Come on down the easy way.
I know my
This is exactly.
All right. You want to play it the hard way?
I pay your salary.
You want to play it the hard way?
Your salary.
I pay your salary. Like that.
Are you going to come down or are we going to bring you down,
They
Steve?
got a firefighter there.
Your dangest.
Oh shit.
Wait, watch.
What are you doing, man?
What are you doing? Oh man.
I'm 2 blocks from my work.
Put that cigarette down.
All right,
Put the cigarette down.
so that was us on a lift. And I really wanted to do that. And if you listen to Steve, if you really hear the conversation, he's like, no, don't do it. Don't
I'm like,
do it.
don't do it. Just let it
This
go.
guy, honestly, it would have been funnier and shit, but this guy literally would have
was
had
serious.
us out
Yeah.
in a second.
He was livid.
He
when
was
got
so
there.
pissed. And he had the power to literally just clean us out.
Yeah, he looked important with his suit. You know.
Yeah. He was the head of the union there.
But that was funny. He's like, I want you to come down.
Yeah.
George wanted to be like, no.
I wish we had the full conversation before this because
Yeah.
this guy came up and it's just like he's
was
giving all kinds of,
flaming.
he's literally just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm like, what?
Did you see him coming up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
You already knew.
Yeah.
You knew what was happening.
But I have to, and this is how it works because for me, I don't think I had my phone on me. But whatever it was, I give Viviana like the and she bam the fucking you get this shit. You know what I mean? It's like there should all and that's where we need the videographer because
Yeah.
this shit was always
Exactly.
good. So
And it didn't
so-
fit. We stole the lift,
So
went up there, and it still didn't fit. We were like, what, 2 inches away?
Yes.
2
And
inches
the
away.
fucking ceiling was there and it was just
What'd you guys do?
so then
Chop the blocks.
yeah, so then the very next morning, what's his name, which was there,
one of our
Talon
guys.
was there to set up the thing. He got in, he had figured it out and got it up, and then you'll see videos of that thing up there spinning, and
yeah.
people were just like, you could see it anywhere, no matter where you were,
Literally any
you could
corner
see it
of that building.
anywhere,
Dude, that-
and it was it was just some funny shit, man. Yeah.
here.
So there's a spin. There should be a video of it spinning. Yeah, look at this thing, man. As you walk in through the door, there's just like this full lounge setup. The sign is up there.
Do you
can see it
notice how
just-
close we are to the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it's like right there. So great.
Oh, look at that.
And that was it. And
Dude, that's badass.
yeah, and so
Can
you know
never
what?
miss that.
No, but I mean, once again, like look at this setup. It was just amazing. And then how everything came into play and all this was done. Honestly, if it was 2 weeks, it was a week and a half getting even out to Michigan.
Yeah.
Rob just drove nonstop.
Yeah, that was crazy. I couldn't
And,
believe he made it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the event turned out to be a bit of a fail in itself as the event, but
Where are these couches?
They're in Michigan, in
Michigan.
storage.
This whole.
everything is. Yeah, that's badass. So much fun. Yeah, it
Well,
was-
I mean, it's also important to say, like, you're just a car rap guy, vinyl, and like you actually made this thing too.
We were able
so that's
to.
impressive, right?
Yeah.
Pulled some tricks out of our hat for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm talking about is look at the transition into the cannabis space is one thing, but like what you're doing in those events, that's fucking big. Yeah. Like that's really is in a convention world, that's huge. Yeah. You know what I mean? And everybody loved it. The fact that you're walking around a place to sit.
Yeah.
With no commitments, and we weren't like, oh, here's this, here's it. Like literally, they could grab candies out of the dishes on each podium. They could shoot the shit. We did so many interviews there, with a lot of big stuff. It was just there was things that failed on the event side of it, but on the fact that how everything turned out because of that.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The execution was good. The thought behind it, the setup. That's something you guys do a lot as a company. Is what I've noticed is a lot of the things you guys do cater to your consumer, you guys aren't so in your face with the product, more as to opening the doors and saying, hey, here's what's here if you want to come check it out. Absolutely, come check it out. You're never the company that's like salesman on the side, like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing today? You buy platinum? You should buy platinum. Come buy platinum. You know what I mean? That's just not your guys' style.
And usually if you go to these events, any event, when there's lounges set up, typically it's a fly trap.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're doing like MJ BizCon, and that's a mammoth of all, you're talking about, you know, 3 days straight of walking around. And I can tell you, even from our part, you know, last year was the first year that we went, and we didn't have anything. We did meetings and we were walking around, and it's like, it wears on you. And so when you find a spot to sit down, you finally want to sit down, and it's like, okay, you know, I'm going to sit down, relax. And you know, it's like, oh, here's a lounge, you know, oh my, you know, you go to the lounge. It's like a fucking bug to a bug light.
It's like a mirage in the desert.
No, it's like a bug to a bug light, because you're like, oh, fuck, a couch, you know, and then it's like, well, why isn't anybody sitting there? You know, so I don't know, but you go down, you sit down, and all of a sudden you sit down, it's like, you know, and you relax. It's like, hey, so blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, it's a fly trap. You get fucking trapped. And it's like, dude, I just want to sit down. And then they're just like, you know, they hit you. In our case, I was like, listen, this is a lounge. Let them come and sit down. If they want to talk to us about shit, let them come to us. And that's how it was.
That's exactly how it worked.
We never pressured anybody. There's candy.
And that's
grab
what people
candy.
like, you know?
Oh, dude.
It's
and it
the
was
same
like,
as if you go into a store like
it
the
was
mall,
a hit.
you know?
I just wish that the turnout was what everybody thought it was going to be. There were some other things that took place with Donald Trump being there, and they closed off the street, and you know, the timing, and you know, the
also
coordinators.
What was going on? There was another
protesting.
No, there was another event, cannabis event, High Times, I think it was.
I don't remember what happened, but I mean, the thing is like, we set this up, and some people would come in and they'd have that look like,
what's wrong here? What do you want?
You know what I mean? Like it's a fucking trap.
The gummies free, yeah.
And then they'd sit, you know, just grab some candies. And you almost, it's that thing, like you ignore them, and then they want to know what the hell's going on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, why aren't you talking to me?
Right. That's how I used to work with girls. Not for me, but I've heard that works. If you ignore them, I'm the one that like begs. Please,
come on,
please listen. You know what this is gonna do for me? Just no. But they would come in, they would kind of sit down, and then they'd be like, "Okay, all right." And then one of us would be like, "Hey, you want a water?" Oh, you're after? No, just you want a water?
You can have it.
Really? It's just a water. All right. And they'd take the water, and they'd be like, "Oh, fuck, platinum vape," you know, out of that, and then pretty soon they're just sitting there, just like, "This is cool." You know what I mean? And then people would they'd be like, what's going on here?
Exactly.
What's this and that?
They pique their curiosity. They don't go in there and sell them.
Not at all.
It's all brand recognition. They know well enough that, hey, we're the biggest and brightest thing in the room. Yeah. They're genuinely curious as to what's going on in that corner. Why are you that big? Why are you in the best place? Why does your entire
and nobody's hounding
them? There's nothing to sell there.
And nobody's hounding them. So it worked out great. I mean, we did a lot of fun stuff, and there was a lot of giveaways, and we gave away a ton of product and stuff that was fun. But I mean, that concept. So back to what this is, though, is about the fact of, like, look at your transition from wrapping cars and all the things that you're doing to now not just like literally doing these amazing build outs, not just there, but we can go into all the stores that you built out in Michigan.
Done.
California.
We did I did 3 tours in Michigan for you guys, which when you guys told me Michigan, I was like, I don't know how we're going to pull it off.
How many stores did you end up? And these are full build outs. These are like, he actually, flew out to Michigan, spent a week going to the stores, getting their concept, not ours, getting their concept of what they wanted to see, fully designing it. Then I'm talking full build outs, and we'll have those go up here as well. Amazing build outs in these stores with full TV monitors and doing the whole thing.
Like sparing no expense. These guys would literally walk into a facility and be like, hey, we're going to invest in your place to sell more product.
Yeah.
What's the catch?
And that was our store to store. The first one that we did was at Golden Bloom.
Yep. At Peter's place.
That was the very first one. And then it just went to a level above and beyond on what was done in these stores.
It spiraled out. I mean, I was a little nervous when you guys approached me about Michigan. How are we going to get tools there? How are we going to, ship all the product? There were so many logistical issues.
Yeah.
But you know, when we got there, we did the site surveys after
Some crazy ass stores out
we
there.
did. Yeah, they got some like Green Mile's one of them. That place was huge,
Right.
absolutely huge.
No, there's and Tommy, I have a ton of pictures. I'm sure Steve does too, of these stores, and you know, going to that level, and then California, where there's
That
some
was
of them
some
right
of
there.
our digital renders.
Yeah. But and then it is cool to see the digital side of it and what we have in reality, because it's fucking exactly
Literally spot on.
Yeah. I mean, huge stuff. And then doing stuff here, you know, as well.
Yeah,
Bark.
we did a lot of stuff.
Bark was a big one.
We did a lot of locations down here too.
Yeah.
From here to LA to Palm Springs.
And that was the first, you know, that anybody had ever done these store to stores. So we hammered that. But once again, this is what you've done as a company. I mean, to make these type of transitions, to be able to continue
To adapt.
you know, and yeah, it's just crazy. And then you look at this room, you know what I mean? I mean, Tommy's claim is here, you know, and all the rest of this stuff, which is, you know, it makes the whole thing. But then, you know, look at the window wrap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at the wrap behind there.
Yeah.
I think I look better in that.
I was gonna say you look better in the
microphone.
cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty spot on. And then like our boat.
The boat,
Yeah.
We've done like, that's what I'm saying though. It's, you think outside of the box when you're working with two owners like you and Cody that are able to make decisions on the fly, where other companies, we go through the entire loop, right? It goes from this person to the marketing director to this guy. And if one guy doesn't sign off on it, we're right back to the drawing board.
Right.
Where with you guys, it's like, hey, we have a concept. What do you think? Can we do it? And of course, you know, everything is doable.
Yeah.
You know, to a certain degree.
We haven't found one that we couldn't do.
literally have not come across anything. I mean,
No.
Cody messaged me 3 weeks ago or a month ago. He's like, hey,
Let's talk about.
you wrap a boat?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Hall of Flowers in itself, like most people, it's one look. You know what I mean? And literally, we took that, and I mean, that was your guys' creative side. Like, oh, let's do a lenticular wall. I don't know. I've seen stuff like that, but I never know. Like, okay, you know, and that shit got done. And were you saying something?
No, just like
Oh, and then
I don't even know what that is when you said that. Like what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and so
crazy.
you know it is, and the way that it was set up, just the mindset didn't come from us. You know, it came from these guys. Was let's bring people in. They'll walk down the one side. You got the driven with the gummy.
yeah.
Then you have the back wall, which is just a huge PV wall.
chocolate station on the left.
Then you have the chocolate station with the big chocolate bar wrap, and then you turn, and it's like
A completely
wow,
different wall.
That's React.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but from the outside, you get the whole lenticular wall with platinum vape and that cool
Yeah.
picture. You know, what I mean, that, like, think about that concept.
Oh no, that's creative.
Yeah, and then
cool.
wrap the floor. That was my idea. I'm taking that.
The
Floor wrap
did
was
turn-
my fucking idea.
I was a little concerned with the durability because I didn't know how much traffic we were going to have. But honestly,
It turned out.
there wasn't a scratch on that floor when it was done. And that was with
Yeah.
people walking in and out and in and out. Because we took
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about it from a safety standpoint, right? If we don't laminate it in the right film, people are going to slip.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So it really comes down to what type of materials you're going to use. You have to put enough thought into the process to understand actually what you're doing and how you're going to execute it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that I'm taking credit for. I'm taking credit for the fucking gummy wall. That was my
Gummy
idea.
wall was his idea?
Literally using
Chocolate fountain?
real gummies. Chocolate fountain was my idea.
Yep.
Something.
All the hard things.
Janet had
so all the hard
Janet-
things are George's idea, like 16-foot towers, rotating 4-foot logos. You know, can you like do
It
37
wasn't-
stores in Michigan?
And listen, and my whole thing on the driven side too, all the different things.
Yeah.
that was me. We're talking about the fact of like looking what you've been able to do in this transition of all this stuff that's going on, and the amazing things that we've done with Hall of Flowers and with all the stores, and you know, I mean, that's you as a company, and showing your capabilities of producing stuff for a customer, us, anybody else, to be able to adapt to anything that's going on. That's how you get through life. Yeah. And a lot of people don't see that part of it, but that truly is how you get through life because, dude, listen, I was a flooring guy.
I remember you telling me that.
I mean, I went from flooring literally to drive-through coffees. From there, I was building drive-through coffees, and then I built a restaurant from the ground up. And I had coffee house. Like, you have to be able to move with whatever it is that you need to do. A lot of people, they shut down. It's like, I failed. But that's not what it is. It's like a weird progression into different areas. You know what I mean? It's adapting.
It is.
That really is what it is.
It's the only word to describe it.
Yeah. And you look at an analogy that's really kind of stupid, I guess, in some ways is Castaway. When you look at someone like that movie Castaway, I don't know if you watched it with Tom Hanks and whatnot, that is at the most of how somebody adapts to what's in front of them. Could have died. I know it's a movie, but that's reality too. That's happened to people in real life. You just have to adapt. And so with that being said, where are you now and where are you going? What's happening? What's the plan?
At this point, we've gotten so much into the commercial side that it started to interfere with what we still kind of do for the automotive side as well. And it's hard for me to kill it off completely. You shouldn't have to. That's what I'm saying. So that's when we decided, okay.
That would be, to me, that would be like us saying, cartridges are down, so we're just going to do chocolates.
Yeah,
or
doesn't
whatever.
work like that. So what I did was I separated the companies. We kept VVW as what it was initially, and we created Alta Design Co., which was solely for the commercial side. That's where we deal with the signage, the build outs, the displays, wall murals, anything that's got anything branded, really.
Right?
Anything that's got a name or a logo or a design on it, we'll get it done at that point. So we're trying to segregate our clients where the commercial clients will go to Alta and then VVW can maintain its reputation in the automotive industry because we still get some decent work, But you still have a crossover there too, where somebody comes in with a fucking Bentley or whatever and wants to get it wrapped, and then they go, "Yep,
oh, dude, you do this. I've got this."
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's hard because a lot of the business owners that we dealt with are also auto enthusiasts. So these guys will bring us the cars and they're like, "Hey, will you do my car?" And then they're like, "Oh, you also do this?"
Right.
And one thing leads to another, and before you know it, we're doing their law office or their financial firm
and that's adapting.
So it would, like you said, it would have been stupid of me to kill off VVW completely. It didn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So I think we're taking the right steps. At this point, my eyes are set on the commercial side. I see potential in there. I see a lot of room for growth. People's marketing budgets are only going to go up from here. Don't get me wrong. This year is going to be difficult trying to get back on track after the amount of revenue we've lost. However, it's just preparing us for next year. I mean, if we can survive this, what else?
Yeah,
look,
it's not even an if. We've been down these roads, man, and there's difficult times. Like I said, no matter what you're doing, but adapting is paramount in these times for anybody at all. So, you looking at it, I can tell you this. I mean, cannabis is just in the beginning.
Yeah.
These conventions and all this stuff that's going on, how you get out now and market yourself through all of these events that are going to start coming back and things are going to start going again. You'll just be busier than shit because this is the beginning. What we did at Hall of Flowers last year, a lot of people have been doing some things, but it's only the beginning. It's always bettering the next event.
Yeah.
You've seen
everybody tries to outpace each other, and it's a good thing because it's healthy competition in your industry, right? There's enough market share for people to go around, so it's not so cutthroat. It's not like putting a sign shop in front of a sign shop. If you can have two cartridge distributors that have their entirely own set of clients,
right?
You have people that are at your price point, and they have people that are at their price point. I think that the market is going to continue to grow over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. Like I said, we are in the beginning stages.
It is still the very beginning of what's happening, and that's why it's important for you to market however you can in that way, in that space. Still continue to do it because the car wraps aren't going away.
No,
any of that shit is still going to be there. So however you kind of navigate through that, plus you know, this side.
Trying to
I
grow
think,
it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be huge. And the cannabis space, because you're entered into that and you've done this and you have a really good, solid portfolio there, it's now, to me, it's how you market that out to
the other, the other clients, you
Right.
know, as long as they see, and that's kind of what's happened. You know, a lot of our clients come from seeing us do work for other people.
Yeah, I mean, like
going to
look
Golden
who you're doing who you're doing stuff for.
Yeah.
I mean, Select is no small, you know, feat there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So you're doing stuff there. I think you did some Rove stuff.
We've done some stuff for, was it Rove? No, I think it was, we've done stuff with Kaliva. We've done stuff with Kiva. We've done stuff with, Canico. You know, again, we never know what we're going to get.
Right.
I got a call right when we launched Alta from Bar Rescue, the TV show. And they're like, hey,
I think it's time to put yourself together some sort of a what do you call it?
a portfolio.
Yeah, but there's another name for it. Anyways, it's a whole package.
Catalog.
Yeah, it's like a catalog, but you know, it's one of those. It's one of those things that you need to start mass sending out to everybody.
Like a brochure or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Something
brochure.
similar, just like different type of packages we can offer the clients, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like a little snap reel of what you do. You know what I mean? And you know, like we do a lot of these things here in house about who we are and what we do as a company. You know, we're filming these things. You know what I mean?
Like a newsletter or something.
Yeah, it's not, no, you're not even coming.
Is
up
it
with this
physical?
shit. Yeah, it's
something you send out.
Yeah, it's something you send out. Like what we've done, where it's just information on the company, and it gets in a whole. It gets people to understand, to see you,
Yeah.
and what your company's, you know. So it's like a little video of you know, that you would set up and talk about, you know, like just like what we did with Galena.
Yeah.
You know, Platinum Vape. This is who we are. You know what I mean? And we did that for Hall of Flowers,
Yeah.
for the virtual one that just passed, for people to see who we were as a company. I think you should take a look at that, because that is one great way that you just go, here, you click it, send to anybody.
Yeah.
In these companies, and then they go, okay, it's interesting, it's visual, and it's informational. And so
I agree. I think a big step of what we need to do next is entirely marketing, because at this point we've literally gotten to where we are based on referrals.
right.
So
Now
this is with like zero form of
We
marketing.
didn't.
Like zero.
I mean, we didn't. Ours fucking we market.
My
And now I think that's a key point for you to really take a look at and watch, like this video that we just did for Hall of Flowers.
Yeah.
Because it gives somebody in, I don't know how long that video was, a minute or 2 minutes or
It's about a minute and something.
you know, whatever it is, but it directs them to who we are as a company, and it shows them
what you offer.
you know, within reason. In your case, if I'm sitting out here and I've got an event coming along, and boom, I get hit with this, and I see it, and go, wow, like look at the stuff that this company has done. You know what I mean? And you're narrating through this whole process. I think that's key on.
I agree.
On going that.
Yeah,
next
I agree.
level.
I think those are the type of steps that we need to be taking at this point in time. Now that, especially now that we have the time on our hands to do it, right? With everything slowing down. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, it's been picking up the last couple of weeks. However, now is probably the best time to get into marketing.
It is.
Right now, anybody that's got the money will eat up market share. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, it's now for you. It's a marketing game, and you know, it truly does work. And I can tell you, we've spent. I mean, I'm going to say we've spent millions of dollars in marketing.
100%, I'd say.
And you know, and marketing isn't. People go, oh, marketing. It's not just an ad in a book or
not
a
flyer
magazine.
in your
you know,
mail.
That's not what this is. And now marketing is like it's a whole different. Like
It's psychological warfare.
Yeah,
it's literally what it
we're
is.
mainstream now.
And your guys' ability to make decisions really quick, I think, is the bigger part of that. Like we were talking about earlier, when things just go in full circle with some of these other companies. With you, it's like, hey, this is what we want done. I'm like, okay, like, when do you want to start now?
Yeah.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're not going to go talk to this guy about it or this guy about it. It's instant. You know, and we go from design to production immediately with you guys. It's part of the reason we can complete it.
It's being nimble. It's literally having a team behind you that can go with you on it. But I mean, that's not how it is all the time. You know what I mean? When we have things that are pressing, they're pressing. But otherwise, it's like this, dude. Like this is This is who we are as a company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like that all the time, but it is important for people to understand, to be able to adapt, you know, to things that are happening.
Yep.
Because we make decisions really quick, and sometimes it requires the whole team to be on it. So what's next? Getting married.
Yeah, we're still waiting to plan. Due to everything going on right now, we want to do, you know, something local, but as of right now, you can't do big events or anything over like.
I know we're dealing with it too. You know, I mean,
people,
the
so
Bahamas shut down, and
and
we're figuring it out. But
that's what we're gonna do too.
But it's happened.
We're gonna go look at a house, I think, in Rancho Santa Fe, to try and do maybe like an outdoor wedding, like
Gotcha.
a big property, and then we can set it up like a wedding, and you know, hopefully get the same result just with a smaller amount of people, which I don't mind because you know what. When you limit it to that amount of people, it's only your close friends and family.
Yeah.
And in our culture, in our community, it's...
Oh, you guys are like fucking
invite cousins.
800,000.
We got 900 people weddings, and I'm
The
just
benefit, though, is that you get a lot of money.
You spend a lot of money, though, too, because if you're not cheap on the wedding, right? And the way we do things, like, I'm not going to cut a corner.
See, this is where you guys fuck up. So for me, you know, I'm kind of like a token Chaldean. You know what I mean?
You're like 60% at this point.
No, I am.
You've made it.
And all my buddies out there, they all know that I literally am the whitest Chaldean around. But you guys, you got to think about it this way once in a while, you know? For me, if I was doing it, dude, I would literally just nothing.
Can't.
No, I would.
Can't.
I'm just telling you.
It looks bad on your family.
What's that?
It looks bad on the family.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
That's how I am, though.
So then you go in there
and then I'd be like, and I would say, what I would do is this. I would set it up so that the outside literally looks like a palace. Like there's shit going on in there. And I'd be there collecting the envelopes.
And they come inside and there's little benches and a water fountain.
That's it. That's it. And I would have it set up like that. You know what I call it? Fly trap. Get them in. I don't care at that point.
It's tough, man.
At that point, we're having Korean corn dogs. No, we'll do the meat. No, I mean, I know because I've been to them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're going through the same thing that we're going through, and we want to get it done as soon as possible. I don't want to wait any longer. You know, I'm not getting any younger either, so it's like, it's just doing it I don't want to rush it either and do something we're going to regret later.
Right.
So I'm going to weigh out our options. We're going to go look at that house.
It's different for your guys' culture because it's like people find out that you got married and it's like, well, what was we invited?
Yeah, we weren't invited because they'll invite our family to their wedding. So if they don't reciprocate it, it's like,
yeah. And this is the difference with white people. They're like, oh fuck, I hope they don't invite me. I don't want a fucking present. I don't want to do any of this shit.
Look, I don't want to walk into a venue.
We got an invitation. Damn it.
That's how it is though. Cause like, I don't want to walk into a venue with that many people.
The game's on Sunday.
You know what I mean? That's the difference. In your culture, they're like, what? I didn't get invited? The hell, my money's not good. My this, that, you know what I mean? Blah blah blah. You know, it's like in ours, it's like, oh god, I hope they don't send
Please
an
forget me.
invitation.
Please forget.
Hey, can you call her up and tell her she's a bitch or something? You know? Something.
2 days before the wedding.
It's like, oh fuck, look, we got one, and it's like, I did call her a bitch. She sent me one.
She put a +1 on there this time.
It's like, I forgive you.
Yeah. Yeah. With an
I forgive you.
I forgive you. Please come. And then it's like you're obligated to bring a present. You're obligated to this. It's like, we're different, man. Like have you ever watched, what's his name? Manicalsco, the comedian.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sebastian. Oh, dude.
So good.
Tommy, this is just fun. Pull that up and pull up when people come to visit.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is truly how it is. With Chaldeans, fucking doors open. Come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Some tea. Want to hang out, right? Sebastian Manicalsco hits the home run on how it is for, you know, he's Italian or Sicilian, but this is true for white people too. Right? Yeah. Okay, so this is great.
I was sitting in my house a couple weeks ago, just relaxing. My doorbell rang. This is weird. It's a different feeling when your doorbell rings today opposed to 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, your doorbell rang. That was a happy moment in your house.
I saw this guy live.
Company. You'd be sitting there on a Thursday night watching TV. Your doorbell rang. The whole family shot off the couch. Oh my God! Put the lights on. Somebody's here. We got people. The whole family went to the door. The kids were in socks. They slid up to the door.
I've done that.
Nobody looked to see who it was. You just opened up the door. You were like, oh my God, look at that.
He's like really animated.
Yeah.
This
Look
guy.
at us here.
Look at
You
these here.
ask him, what the hell are you doing here? And the person would be like, I was in the neighborhood. I thought I might stop by, see how the kids are doing. They're like, oh, come on in. We're gonna have some cake.
Some cake.
Your mother had a little Entenmann's. Maybe some Sara Lee crumble cake. Just in case company came over.
Company.
She made an announcement when she bought it. She's like, listen, nobody touch this cake.
It's for company.
This is for company only. Those crap muffins, those are for you people. Better hope to God somebody comes over so we could cut the cake.
This is Chaldean. They always have.
Always ready for the company.
Listen.
All right, you put it right in the middle. Cut yourself a slice. One cup of coffee. We're gonna do. Want some Sanka?
Sanka?
Yeah, that's old school. A lot of the young kids are looking at me like, what is that, an iPhone app? What the hell is Sanka? Your mother had a tin, brown and orange tin of Sanka, ready to go just in case the company. She put a big pot on the table. Go ahead. Nobody had a cell phone back then. If your house phone did ring, your father stood up and said, nobody get that phone. We got company. And you lost track of time. 2 hours went by. You were like, we got to get out of here. That's okay. Next time we're going to come by you. Be like, yeah, my door's always open. Now your doorbell rings?
This is us. Watch it.
It's like, what the fuck?
This is the truth.
It is true.
Right, your own mother's crawling across the kitchen. Get down, my army crawl. Army crawl, get in the closet. Go get the sword in the living room. Somebody get the sword underneath the couch in the living room. There's a sword.
Oh, fuck.
Right, you have to turn and ask your family, you invite anybody over? You invite anybody over.
It's all serious.
It has gone like that, though.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, it
Was
has.
that person upstairs that didn't hear the bell? They come walking down. What the hell is going on? Get the hell down. Somebody's outside. At the door. I think they saw movement. Oh, God. I got to open it. I got no cake. I got no sank. I got nothing for these people.
Oh, shit. That's the
You
truth.
can't stop by anybody's house anymore. If you do, you have to call from the driveway.
Text.
You're like, I'm here. Can I approach?
Honestly, it's true.
It is true.
Oh, man.
It's me and 3 other people.
Yeah, you
We're
just
gonna
don't.
walk
You
up
just
through
don't.
this-
But that's always been a funny one, man.
Oh, dude, that.
Because it is the truth. It's like
I listen to that every once in a while because you got to.
you'll
listen.
hear the doorbell and it's like, oh, did you guys see coming over?
Yeah,
A
do you know
million
who it
times
is?
it's happened. It's like, no, who the hell's here?
It's always someone
And
weird, too, and random.
even then we go, anybody that should be coming over knows the code to the door, so fuck, we're not answering it.
Not important enough.
Man. Yeah. So, anyways, well, good.
Yeah.
We're there. I think we've kind of milked this one out in a lot of ways. A lot of fun, man.
We've
A
had
lot
some
of
good
fun.
times, man. Some
Yeah.
of the best memories I have are with you guys in Cabo, Cabo was hands down the absolute best trip I've ever taken.
Yeah, that's a whole another podcast,
That was,
man. That
Costa Rica, the times in
That's a
Michigan.
tough one. That was a tough one.
For you. That was a very tough one.
It was tough for me. Well, listen, man. Thanks. Thanks
man.
for everything
Thank you guys for having me.
that you've done for us and with us, and you got big shit coming. I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. It's definitely gonna be good.
I appreciate it. It's always nice having good people by your side too, man.
Yeah, especially right downstairs.
I know.
All right. Yeah. Well, listen. That's it. I mean, this one is a wrap. This is a lot of fun, man.
That was freaking hilarious, dude.
This is gonna be a lot of fun in this one. Yeah, PV Unfiltered, buddy Steve E show here.
#1 podcast in the world, baby.
#1 cannabis podcast. And
right.
I just wanted to say it.
Like and subscribe. Tommy, it's over here. Yeah, we got that one right. Like and subscribe. Guys, we do this for fun, for free. And
I'm not getting paid?
No. No. Yeah, you are. You're getting a Korean corn dog. we do this one for fun and for free and for and just giving people information on cannabis and look at this, man. I mean, it's another person that has entered into this world of cannabis, the dark doom cannabis
that just magically elevated us.
Yes.
So I wouldn't call it so dark and doom.
So man, I don't have anything left to say except for peace. Right?
Wow.
That's it.
Hey, I'm running to the money. You know how I'm coming. Money till Sunday night, be thumbing.